Welcome to Living Local. I'm Gail Kvistad, your guide, and today we've got a special treat. We all know how music is the universal language. And here in Santa Barbara, we have a rich musical and cultural history, and we have a cultural icon, the soul of Santa Barbara music, Spencer Barnitz. Now, you may know him from The Tan, from back in the day in the 80s, or Spencer the Gardener, or the Wedding Band, and he has entertained Santa Barbarans for decades. He's traveled and played around the world, but has made his living here in Santa Barbara. We're going to talk to Spencer and find out how a musician actually makes a living and living in Santa Barbara. And also, he's the subject of a new documentary. It's all about Spencer, and it's... And let's go meet Spencer. Come on. Spencer, it's so great to see you. And here we are, and he's got a gig. Okay, so this man, I told you, is like the soul of Santa Barbara, and he always has a gig. So tell us, what is happening tonight? Because I understand there's a movie going on.
Well, this is pretty funny, because I said it today, too. I went to the bank, and the girl's like, are you doing something fun today? And I said, yeah, I'm actually going to go see a movie. Oh, really? What movie? Well, it's called More Than Just a Party Band. Haven't heard of it, she says. And I said, it's actually about me.
And it's true, because
I never say that, so it was really funny just to be in the bank and say that, and then she's like, I know who you are.
This is Santa Barbara, and everybody, if you don't know this man and you haven't heard this man, you're gonna have to check it out, because Spencer Barnitz has been around since
the beginning of time.
Since the 80s. The 80s, folks, with The Tan. And The Tan, was that your first band?
That was, and we played at your prom, probably.
Yes, they did. In fact, we got them to play. I was on one of the committees.
Who did you go with?
And that's funny.
Do you remember?
I do remember. Yeah, John McFadden, and he still lives here. Hey.
John McFadden?
Yeah, you know
I played
John.
at his wedding.
We don't make this stuff up because we don't have to, because this is Santa Barbara.
There's the Worried Lads, the Wedding Band, Spencer and Todd's Swingin' Moods.
Yes, with Todd Capps.
And they're all just kind of eclectic.
Well, it's so hard to make a living as an artist and as a musician, and in Santa Barbara, such a small town. Hats off to you.
Well, there's a few extracurricular things I did. Like, I worked off and on at Roy for a long time, so that helped save me.
Roy's Steakhouse, right on Carrillo. It's amazing.
But you know, I grew up on the Mesa. My sister and I both speak Spanish. We both have these hand movements. None of them are like they have nothing to do with our parents. They're just the mixture of two people.
And Santa Barbara.
That's what their DNA produced.
Exactly. Because puedo hablar español y también bailando and talking with the hands and all the Italians and the Masons and all the... So listen, I really want to know, you traveled around with bands for a while, but then you always came back to Santa Barbara.
Well, I lived in London for a couple of years. I lived in Mexico.
And you go back and forth to Mexico
regularly.
regularly.
But this has just been, it's really an interesting situation we find ourselves in right now musically, because the ownership of music doesn't matter like it once did. Like when you were a kid.
The rights to things. I remember
when you had not even the rights to things. I mean, when you had an album when you were a kid. Tell me your favorite high school album.
My favorite actually was Andy Gibb, Staying Alive, Staying Alive. That's true. That was my favorite.
I loved that. That was a great Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
But so the ownership, you used to buy records, but even with CDs in the 90s, you bought them. But now it's gotten to a point where it doesn't matter if you have them or not. That's a great thing for a band like ours, because if you have Spotify, you have every Spencer the Gardener record.
You hear that? Look up Spencer the Gardener on Spotify.
I get a nickel here and a nickel there and all that.
You do.
But the thing is that's the way it always was. You didn't hear very much because you heard what the record labels controlled you to hear. Now you can hear everything.
Right. It was what was on the radio.
There's no record labels anymore.
And so now you produce your own albums. You have Spencer the Gardener, and there's actually a gardening for kids, the Organic Gardener.
Organic Gangster.
The Organic Gangster, which is your organic.
That was a children's thing that I stumbled upon. And it was so great because I had a song called The Gobble Song that was a Thanksgiving hit. It went viral on YouTube about 12 years ago. And so I was like, wow, that's really weird. I almost have the makings of a children's record. So I started just finishing it, and I didn't look into it, which if I would have
You would
stopped,
never have done it.
because I would have gone, man, Ziggy Marley has one, Bob Marley has one, and he's not even alive anymore. Everybody has a kid's record. So I would have just not done it, but it has given me a whole lot. Like, I got a sponsorship from the Bowl to play at schools, and I just played at a lot of schools, which I was doing anyway. And so every teacher that I know would call me and say, hey, do you want to come and do this? And I did it.
Yeah. And so tell us about the Tan, because that was where you first launched your career, isn't it?
We grew up at the Pit.
Yeah.
On the Mesa.
Pit locals.
And me and Brad.
That's Henry's Beach. For everybody that doesn't know, Arroyo Burro is the Pit.
Brad Nack and I started that band.
Right.
We actually, it was the late 70s, and he went to Europe for a year and came back and said, hey man, there's this whole new wave thing in England and we should start a band. And he didn't know how to play guitar. So we went to Mexico for 3 months. I taught him how to play guitar, and we came back and started the Tan. Dave Humes then joined, and we played it all.
It was amazing.
We played it all.
Come
the high
on, baby,
schools
get a tan.
up and down the coast.
So what would you say out to somebody out there that really wants a career in music and lives here in Santa Barbara or anywhere? Like, what advice would you give them?
Do something else.
Would you really? No,
I would
you
say,
wouldn't.
I would say really anything, regardless, music, acting, photography.
Any of the arts.
Any kind of art. If you really enjoy it, if you really like it, then you can figure out a way to make it work. But you can't just think you're going to do something for money, because that never works. You have to really enjoy what you're doing. Like, you enjoy doing this.
Right. I enjoy telling people stories around town, and it's such pleasure.
If you don't enjoy it, it's not going to work.
Right.
So I'm lucky that I've
been doing this for decades.
And the thing is I love playing live. I enjoy it. And you know this, like I know this. Right. We're from here, so we're able to slip through some things. You know, the funny thing about life in general is it always comes down to who you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. It makes perfect sense. It's
right,
like when you get a job, your parents say, hey, my kid, could they work there? And then they say yes. My first job was working at NACRA Catamarans doing like gardening, because my mom was the manager of NACRA Catamarans. The first time I ever heard myself on the radio was at NACRA Catamarans, when they played a song called 360 by the Tan.
I know that one.
And I was like weeding or something, and it was so surreal, because I'm like, wow, there I am on the radio, but I'm actually like
working.
What is
and that's Santa Barbara. You got to keep on working.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Well, this has been an interestingly good year, because a movie came out.
Yep.
A new record came out. We have a ton of good shows coming out this summer. It's the 100-year anniversary of Fiesta.
And it's going to be amazing here in Santa Barbara.
And we're playing this Saturday night of De La Guerra Plaza, which is one of my favorite shows of the year.
So people can find you.
Spencer the Gardener Instagram.
Okay.
Spencer the Gardener Facebook. YouTube, Spencer the Gardener.
Spencer the Gardener. Well, thank you so much, Spencer. It's just been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and I hope you enjoy the film.
We're hanging out. We're hanging out.
When I was in my 20s, what I really wanted to do, I wanted to make it. And in musical terms, that meant get a record deal, become huge, play stadiums. That was what we were doing when we were in the Tan. We wanted to make it.
We want you to be the you that we construct in your image.
We didn't realize that the deal with the EMI was real when we actually got that check, which was for $150,000.
Our lawyer got, and our manager got,
and producer got.
What did we get?
We got $3,500 apiece.
As Spencer the Gardener started, I thought, I don't need the record industry. I don't want the record industry. I want to just continue this on my own and make it popular however size I want it.
People love your band. It's like the all-time best party band. It's deeper than that, though.
It's deeper than that,
it's a profound party band.
There's a soul to Santa Barbara. When someone asks me, what does Spencer the Gardener sound like? I think about it, I go, they sound like Santa Barbara.
It's a Latin big band spy movie set on a moody tropical beach.
He's a very, very positive aspect and a very artistic aspect of Santa Barbara.
This is a town, as my mother said, I wish you kids were from somewhere else so you could see how nice it is to live here.
Sometimes you have to move away to know where you want to end up.
And then the accident happened. I think deep down it really broke Spencer's heart.
If I just had you to hold on to, I could hold on. I still believe it.
Of course I'm talking about a girl. Every song is about a girl.
What now, Spencer? What's coming next? What's coming down the pike for Spencer Barnitz?
Hopefully a kidney.
Everybody goes through a lot of stuff, and Spencer's able to write about them.
Ride the pretty one.
And he is a survivor.
Perseverance, sheer hard work, bullheaded.
Yes!
I don't think I've written the most beautiful song I can write yet.
He truly is an icon in this town.
You know why I don't stop?
Damn, this is fun.